Welcome back to Noir Alley, coming to you once again from Bar 355 in Oakland, California. Our film today is Count the Hours, a neglected B picture from RKO, originally released in 1953. It reunites actors Teresa Wright and MacDonald Carey, who 10 years earlier had co-starred in the Alfred Hitchcock classic Shadow of a Doubt. Today's film is nowhere in that league, having been thrown together in a mere 9 days on a budget that wouldn't have covered Alfred Hitchcock's catering bill. But some major talent was brought to bear on this threadbare script, turning it into an engrossing and at times visually compelling movie. First, a couple of words about the screenplay. Not good. The story is by Doane Hogue, his first feature-length credit. Hogue mostly wrote historical short subjects, and his previous script in 1947 was for a 42-minute experimental faith-based movie called Beyond Our Own, which was distributed exclusively to churches and civic groups. More than a bit of moralizing makes it into this tale of a small-town lawyer defending a migrant farm worker being railroaded on a murder charge. The final shooting script was by the more experienced Karen DeWolf, who'd been writing B pictures since the early 30s and was a regular writer on the Blondie movies made by Columbia Pictures. Now, if there are any lawyers watching, brace yourself. This script plays so fast and loose with the finer points of the legal process, you may be screaming objection at every other scene. But veracity to the letter of the law is not what this film is about. The script serves merely as a flimsy, jury-rigged canvas on which a couple of exceptional craftsmen work their magic. This was the 6th feature for Don Siegel, who was on his way to becoming one of Hollywood's best directors of genre pictures. Siegel got his start as an editor at Warner Brothers, specializing in making montage sequences that transform pages of script into a cogent flow that advanced the story in mere seconds. You'll get several examples of this in Count the Hours. Siegel was equally adept at boldly framed compositions and dynamic staging of action, as much as one can be on a 9-day shooting schedule. He is aided immeasurably by director of photography John Alton, who I have no doubt was the highest paid member of the crew, and probably the cast. In his memoir, Siegel dismissed Count the Hours as a nothing picture, but he did recall how ingenious and fast Alton was as a cameraman. Before signing on, Alton told producer Benedict Bourgeot that if he gave him half the money that had been budgeted for rigging, that's the scaffolding used to support all the lighting, Alton would shoot the entire picture without any rigging, using just a few portable lighting setups. According to Siegel, producers loved Alton, but other cameramen hated him because he created such fantastic imagery for so much less money than other DPs spent. Now, MacDonald Carey had played this same character before in the 1949 Paramount picture, The Lawless. The crucial difference being that the wrongly accused man in that film was a Mexican-American kid. This story might have worked better if the migrant family, played by Teresa Wright and John Craven, didn't look like they just stepped out of a 50s sitcom. But people of color rarely appeared in RKO movies during Howard Hughes' reign as the studio's owner, which makes this story feel more than a little whitewashed. Vivid supporting roles are played by Dolores Moran as the incongruously glamorous girlfriend of Carey's crusading attorney, and Adele Mara, who vamps it up in a pivotal role that a few years earlier would have been played by Gloria Graham. Also on hand, although it takes a while for him to show his unforgettable mug, is Jack Elam, the bug-eyed former accountant who'd be a fixture on screen for the next 40 years, mostly in westerns. Originally released by RKO as the bottom half of a double bill with Ida Lupino's The Hitchhiker, here is Count the Hours.